Okay, welcome to my little midnight, 3:30 in the morning conversation. I haven't named the Moon Girl Prayer or Mind Control. I'm just gonna talk about what's on my mind, which really, I've had such a challenging week. You know, as I've stated before, I haven't been traveling down the spiritual path that I'm on. Okay. And just I have been trying to start my podcast. I have been trying to start, just I don't even know if I want to call it a document or a documentation or whatever it was that came into my mind. It was just like this is what happened. Also, while I was on my spiritual awakening, I began to meet a lot of very spiritual beings, and the thing was to like go live. You know what I'm saying? The thing was to go live. The thing was to begin to document your life in the spiritual journey. So, and when I began to do that, things began to like happen in my life where I had to kind of put my podcast on hold and take care of some things that was going on in my life. So now that things have kind of calmed down enough for me to begin podcasting again, a lot of spiritual things have happened in my life where it has increased or expanded my consciousness in a very positive way. So this past week, has been very challenging because some shadow work came up just out of nowhere. And you know what I really believe that I did a Moon Girl prayer where I was affirming the collective because I imagine that I'm not the only person having to do some shadow work right now. And so I was affirming the collective, like a lot of times shadow work comes in a form of low vibrational energy or energies being directed our way. And one of the ways that we could transmute it to something we can use is like, well, what about this can I use to make my consciousness expand? What can I take away from this where I could do something better? What can I do to make this situation not be so low vibrational? And if I can't, take that energy, like the raw substance of the low vibrationness, if that's a word, at least I can use my high vibrations to put up my shield and be able to like kind of look through the energies that was directed in a way that it could uplift my being. Like, I'm just going to use everything to uplift myself. That's basically what I'm saying. And that's basically what I'm trying to affirm in this conversation tonight at 3:30 in the dang on morning. And it ain't that I can't sleep. I had a very peaceful evening. I got up. Some shadow work came my way last night. And I just came in here and I just prayed. And I really did. I just prayed about it because it was like so heavy, and it's not that private, but it's like personal. It was the type of thing that it's like, man, I am really in a place in my life right now where I want the majority of the energies coming into my space to be high vibrational. And a lot of times the creator has to remind me that this is a duality realm, and that I have to also be able to handle myself around low vibrational creatures. And I'm just, and that's how that type of energy is. It's very alluring to indulge or engage in it. And to be able to catch myself, like, okay, I see I was finna go off on a rant that I did not want to go on. So I caught myself. It was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Like, That's what I've been trying to do with with my high vibrations when low vibrations come into the space. So with that being said, it was a challenging weekend where I had to do some shadow work on some places in my life that I knew that I needed to, that I want to make sure that I am aware that growth needs to take place. And this is a very hard conversation to have with oneself, like, let alone to try to have with somebody else. But like, to be wholeheartedly honest with oneself about something that made one uncomfortable, because I'm trying not to say, make it so personal, because this is like a collective message. So I am trying to make sure that I like the first challenge that came my way, it was like two right back to back, and I noticed that I really had to pay attention to when my spirit is being I don't want to say manipulated, because it wasn't really the manipulation that bothered me. It was the reaction period. It was like, I often tell the story about how you would get a person would get a letter in the mail, and you would have time to think about it. And then you could send your response, and it gave the other person that wrote the letter time to think about what they had wrote and what would be, the response or whatever. And then they would get the response. And like, that's the type of communication that went on back, when in biblical days or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't too much write letters like that no more. They send emails, text messages, and things like that. So now we're in an instant gratification, if you will, but like, that's not really what I'm trying to say, but it's more of a automation type of deal. It's like, you automatically respond in a certain way, or it's automatic to have what's normal in society to respond to certain situations. So I really feel like the Creator was putting his finger on that in my life. And that is and I'm using the masculine principle, and when I say his finger, like, the Creator, it's not a man or a woman, it's a spirit. So like, but what I'm saying is, like, this was a logical way of me trying to understand the information that was being presented to me in this low vibrational form. And so I began to have to transmute the information, because I'm very sensitive. I am very sensitive, and I am I used to be kind of ashamed of my sensitivity. Sometimes I still am. I'm like, God, you created my heart like this, like, why like, why did you do this to me? and then at other times I realized that it is one of my most beautiful strengths, to have an acute sensitivity to the spiritual phenomena that goes on in our everyday lives that a lot of people take for granted now. But since God did something very special in my life, where I was able to kind of have a different perspective, because I started my spiritual journey a lot later in life than others did. So all of these things, all of these sensations, these vibrations and everything, like, they're very new to me, and I'm very sensitive. So I began to transmute the energy. And the first wave of energy just kind of irritated my soul. It just irritated me. And I had to really looked at myself. I looked at myself in a way that I just was like, Angela, That's my real name. I prefer Bella, but Bella's my astro name. I talked to myself and was like, Angela, like, went over the situation in my mind. It was like, well, this is the takeaway, that you have to be very careful when societal norms come into play. And that was the takeaway from the first challenge. The second challenge came my way, and it invoked tears, because I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover. And to have to I'm still kind of a little bit upset. And I haven't even been able to really deal with that situation the way I should have. I mean, deal with it mentally, think about it. My spirit guides came through. It was just this is it's not a big deal. it's not a big deal. But I had to understand. I'm in my mind, it's a big deal for me, because I'm trying to really make sure that I'm able to uphold everything that I believe in. And so I'm just driving right around to where I'm trying to get to right now, because at the beginning of the podcast, I talked about how it took me some time and some expansions happened in my mindset, or some expansion happened in my mindset. And that, I don't even know if it's an ebb and flow, but it's I'm directly putting out this message about how we can affirm ourselves, how we can transmute energy from low vibrational to high vibrational. That agape is, a very agape is a very distinct path to take, and to move with agape vibrations takes certain discipline. And it seemed, as soon as I started to spread this message, as soon as I started to affirm collectively, these challenges began to come my way. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to stop. But when I looked at the challenges as, it was I looked at it as, I'm going to uphold this agape path that I'm on. And I'm not perfect. Nor have I ever said that I was. I watched my previous video about my light being pure and untouched. And I'm talking about the light from source. Because who could touch the light from source? I mean, let's be honest. In my mind, maybe somebody down the line could talk about that. But in my mind, in the pure infinite way, what has touched that? So that's the light that I was speaking of. And I'm so thankful to recognize. I'm just so thankful to recognize, that the infinite mind, the creator, the ethers, the ancient in days, the all-knowing, unknowable, that power is how I move. how I got expansion in my mind, expansion in my mind, or my consciousness, the elevation of my consciousness. So I'm so really thankful for, even though, challenges are if certain challenges are fun for people, but like shadow work is not a very fun subject, because the brain automatically has this thing where it doesn't want to have to do that type of work. So it's a very conscious decision to look at oneself and be like, okay, this is where I need some work at. And I'm just really thankful for that time. I'm really thankful for the decision to say, well, this is to own up to what I saw in the situation. My spirit guys was like, it's really not. That's not what it was. But spirit was speaking with my soul and was like, okay, this is what you see, then that's what we gonna work with. So I just implore everybody who's going through any type of challenging situation to go ahead and look inside and see how it is affecting, like what really about the challenge was challenging. What really about the situation that even made it feel like a challenge? Like, that's the thing that I was speaking to spirit about. And it was about just like the thing that I really honed in on was having some time to think. And a lot of times I think that's a spiritual warfare tactic to cause a person to not be able to have that time to think. Right now. To prick a person's emotion and demand something right away. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just really thankful for that message. I'm really thankful for the message of just, when I'm feeling emotional, to take some time to pause. That was the message that I got. I was on Instagram while I was thinking about these things, and I seen a message come up, a meme come up that talked about, recognizing and acknowledging when to pause. And it was such a powerful message, because it was when the person is high in emotion, usually nobody wants to pause like that. even somebody extremely happy is like, I'm really happy and I just want to be doing what I'm doing. And it's like, sometimes really happy, pause. Really sad, pause. Really angry, pause. You know what I'm saying? Really, like, what other type of feelings there could be? Usually it's extreme sadness, happiness, or anger that causes immediate reaction. And so Spirit was just really warning me, and I don't even want to look at it as a warning, but it was just really like a mirror, like, okay, like, daughter, look right here, because I want to make sure that you're safe and you're protected. And this is something that I see as potentially something that could cause, you to have to apologize, you to have to look a certain way, and everybody views you this type of way. And to dive into that part even deeper, I went out for the weekend. Not for the weekend, but one night I went out and I had some wine, and I went to the casino and I out to eat. But not in that order, but that was the gist of my night. I normally don't even go out. I don't think I've been out since New Year's Eve. I don't think I had taken myself out like a night on the town type of deal And I just have realized, like, man, like, a lot of people don't have that freedom to do that. A lot of leaders, spiritual leaders, a lot of people who carry this, who are looked at on this higher type of level, don't get a chance to go out. So I was really thankful for the chance to even just go and just, like, I went by myself. I ended my night by myself. I did not, these are the type of things that, people struggle with. I just really wanted to go outside and just hear some music and, not be in the house. So I'm just really thankful that, I could speak more about that, because I'm really thankful for the type of desires that I have now. Because going outside to these type of places, it really was kind of a little bit boring. But it wasn't really like no party and nothing big happening, but it was really kind of boring. So I was just like, man, I just came out, like, just to be outside the house, and I'm just thankful that the desires that I have are so different than what they used to be. Because let me tell you, I would really want to indulge heavily in party atmosphere, in party time, happy fun time atmosphere, that extreme happiness that I was talking about. Yeah, like, that would be me. It's time to party and let's go crazy. Look at that. So I would definitely be good, what I'm saying? But my desires about how I party has changed. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that, because I came home and I was just happy. I was really happy. Just to sit and have a glass of wine and eat some soup and salad and just chill, And I'm so thankful that I can do that and not feel guilty. Because I imagine some people that be like, I can have me a little wine right now, but they got to do it, like, in the wine cellar. They got to do it in the wine cellar. Can't nobody do it. I'm sorry, let me not be laughing, because that ain't right. Anywho, I'm just really thankful for being able to live a life of spiritual freedom. I live a life of, and when I talk about spiritual freedom, I'm just talking about the confines of religion. I know, and I don't even want to delve into that. I may even trim this off, okay? Because religion is such a hot topic, and people have a hard time separating, the very spiritual nature and religion, which is not very spiritual to me. I'm definitely gonna have to do a mouth control where I talk about religion. I may have one, but I just haven't released it yet, because when I first started Moon Girl Prayers, the creator dealt with me about putting out too much content too soon. It was just like, take your time, because you got a lot of information, and we're the creator and myself this is a process, a journey, a marathon. So I don't have to go so fast with putting out the content. The creator is working with my mind on how I can put the content out in a timely fashion when it's most relevant to the collective. Because I am looking at these videos myself, but I'm also hoping that I'm helping someone else as well. Um, I'm just really thankful for this message, because when I first started, I did not know what I was going to be talking about. And I had, went ahead, lit my candles. It's about 4 o'clock now, I'm just really thankful that I have time to create. And I really believe that there's some big changes coming in my life that are very, beautiful. And I believe that I'm going to be able to create even more content to be able to help. I don't know how God is going to do this. I don't know. And when I say that, it is not like in a doubtful way. It's more like in a faithful way. It's more like in when I say faithful, I don't mean like faithful like you're faithful to your husband or your wife. I'm talking about faithful like I'm full of believing that there are beautiful things in my future. My mind is full in that way. That's an affirmation of my faith. My faith that I know that my future is full of these blessings. I know it. My prayer tonight for the collective that vibrates on this agape vibration with me, with the Creator, really, that we recognize, the shadow work we need to do, that we recognize those things so that we can be our best selves, so we can reach our highest good, being the best version of ourselves. Because I think that will bring added joy, that I managed to be the best version of myself. And when I talk about the best version of myself, I'm talking about my spirit man, not just my outer man. My spirit man is mankind. I'm just really thankful for that message, and I'm thankful that I am every day reaching my highest good. And my highest good looks different every day. And I'm thankful that I am consistently attaining my highest good every day on my journey, on my path, with purposeful action, with agape vibrations surrounding me, and my voice and my eyes, whatever I put my hand to. There's so many things that have to be done here on this earth, and I'm just so thankful to be a part to do those things. This is Bella Gnosis, your hostess with the mostest, and you know this. Thank you for tuning in. I think this is a Mal Control podcast more than a Moon Girl prayer, but I'm going to see what the Creator has for it to be.